Being named Arven by the ladies of the orphanage, he grew up not knowing who his parents were or where he even came from. He learned to defend himself, for his striking purple eyes and pale blonde hair marked him as an easy target among the other children. Navigating the harsh realities of life, Arven learned to survive by stealing to feed himself, each act a desperate bid for sustenance. Yet, amidst the squalor of the orphanage, he often found himself drawn to the street of steel, where the air thrummed with the rhythm of hammers striking iron. There, he would watch the smiths forge weapons, captivated by the gleam of their blades. The reflection in the polished steel fascinated him. He envisioned himself wielding a sword, fighting valiantly in battles he could only dream of. Each spark that flew from the anvil ignited a longing within him, a desire for purpose and power. Eventually, his hunger for a sword and the arrogance that blossomed with him led to a fateful night. Driven by a reckless ambition, Arven dared to steal a sword from a darkened forge, yet he was caught. The smith, his eyes reflecting a kindness that belied the roughness of his hands, saw something in that boy that others had overlooked. He recognized a fighter in Arven, a boy with grit and steel in his heart, determination, and a yearning for a life beyond the streets. "Put that back, lad," the smith had said, his voice a mixture of firmness and kindness. "But I see a fighter in you. How about you come work for me instead?" That offer had changed everything for Arven. The smith, Roderick, had taken him from the orphanage, providing with a bed, food, and the opportunity to learn the craft of forging. Under the smith's watchful eye, Arven honed his skills, finding solace in the rhythm of the hammer against the anvil. Roderick taught him not only how to wield a sword, but also how to live with honour and integrity. Years passed and news of a grand tournament to honour Lord Eddard Stark's appointment as Hand of the King spread like wildfire through the realms. The streets of King's Landing buzzed with excitement, merchants hawked their wares and knights polished their armour, all eager for the chance to display their prowess. For Arven, the adopted son of a modest smith, this was a rare opportunity, a chance to witness knights and lords. With the savings he and Roderick had scraped together, Arven secured a place among the crowd, his heart racing at the thought of the pageantry and valour that lay ahead. As the tournament commenced, Arven marvelled at the grandeur, the colourful banners, the cheers of the crowd, and the clash of steel upon steel. Roderick's steady presence filled him with pride, and the thought of sharing this moment with the man who would become his father was a source of joy. As he watched the jousting, a movement caught his eye. There, amidst the throng of spectators, stood a young boy, not much younger than himself. His pale blonde hair gleamed in the sun, but it was his eyes that captivated Arven, a striking purple hue that seemed to almost glow. They were the same eyes that had drawn attention and suspicion throughout his life. A sense of confusion and curiosity gripped him. Who was this boy, who looked so strikingly like him? The resemblance was uncanny. Were it not for the age difference, they could have easily been mistaken for twins. Arven felt an inexplicable connection, a thread of fate pulling him toward the boy. Later that evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Arven returned to Roderick's forge. "Father, there's a boy at the tournament. He looks just like me, the same hair, the same eyes, I swear." Roderick paused, looking up from his work, his expression shifting to one of concern. "You mean Edric Dane," he said slowly, as if weighing his words carefully. "He's the heir of House Dane. And those eyes of his, they're the same as yours." "Edric Dane?" Arven echoed, confusion mingling with curiosity. "But how can that be? I've never met anyone from that house." Roderick sighed, setting the sword aside. "It means more than you realise, lad. House Dane is known for its fierce warriors and the prophecies that haunt them. Those eyes of yours, they're not just a coincidence. They're a mark of your heritage." Arven's heart raced at Roderick's words. "You're saying I'm... But how? I was left at the orphanage. I don't know my parents or where I came from." "Because you are Edric Dane," Roderick said, his voice heavy with the weight of truth. "You were taken from your family, but you bear the same name and blood. You are a true-born son of House Dane, the older brother of Edric." The revelation struck Arven like a thunderclap, leaving him momentarily speechless. "I'm... his brother? But why was I cast out? Why didn't I know?" Roderick's gaze softened. Your father, Lord Dane, was tormented by visions, fears of a dark fate he believed would befall his family. When you were born, he saw those same eyes in nightmares that haunted him. In a moment of terror, he believed he could change the future by casting you away. Stunned, Arven absorbed the weight of Roderick's words. He was a true-born son of House Dane, abandoned out of fear, a victim of prophecies that had never been his own. But how do you know all this? Arven asked, a note of skepticism creeping into his voice. You've never mentioned anything about the House Dane before. How can you be sure? Roderick hesitated, his expression becoming more serious. In this world, knowledge is often whispered in the shadows. I've heard tales, spoken among the blacksmiths and the traders of the realm. Your eyes, Arven. Your very presence has always drawn attention. I pieced together the stories of those who had passed through King's Landing, and they led me to you. But why didn't you tell me sooner? Arven pressed, frustration rising. Why keep this from me all this time? I wanted you to forge your own identity, Roderick replied, his gaze steady. I took you in because I saw potential in you, not because of your bloodline. You have made your own name here, and I wanted you to find your worth beyond any family ties. With renewed determination, Arven decided he needed to confront Edric. Later that evening, under the cover of night, he slipped through the back alleys, following the echoes of laughter and merriment until he found the young Dane, sitting alone beneath a tree, lost in thought. Edric? Arven called softly, stepping into the moonlight. The boy looked up, surprise etching his features. I have to talk to you. As they exchanged words, Arven revealed fragments of his past, his upbringing in the orphanage, the prejudice he faced because of his purple eyes, and the discoveries he had made about his lineage. But Edric's expression shifted from curiosity to skepticism. You think just because we share the same eyes that we're kin? He scoffed, backing away slightly. I've heard tales of impostors and beggars claiming noble blood. Why should I believe you? Arven's heart sank. I swear to you, I have no idea of my heritage until today. I don't even know my parents' faces. But those eyes, our eyes, they connect us. Edric shook his head, disbelief hardening his features. You could be lying, trying to steal what is mine. I have nothing to gain from your story. He turned away, crossing his arms defensively, the moonlight casting a cold glow over him. With each refusal, Arven felt his desperation grow. I'm not trying to steal anything, I'm just seeking the truth. But Edric would not hear it. The walls of distrust were too high, fortified by the weight of their shared history that neither fully understood. If you were truly of House Dane, you would have been raised with honour. Instead, you were left to rot in the shadows. With those words, the fragile bond they had begun to forge shattered, leaving Arven alone in the darkness. As Edric walked away, Arven felt a profound sense of loss wash over him. He had sought connection, a glimpse into a family he never knew, only to find rejection. The tournament would continue, the banners would still fly high, and the knights would still joust, but for Arven everything had changed. He stood alone in the night, the echoes of the past haunting him more than ever. Without family, without recognition, he returned to Roderick's forge, carrying the burden of his heritage, a legacy that now felt like a curse. In the warmth of the smith's fire, he found a flicker of comfort, the only father he had ever known standing beside him, reminding him that family could be forged in many ways.